Welcome back to the Middle-Aged Hack. I am Stuart and I am your Middle-Aged Hack. Child of the 80s, just trying to make his way through the 20s. And part of that is this channel. I'm exploring all sorts of different ideas, things that excite me and interest me. I'm not sure where it's going to go, but I hope you're on the journey with me. Ready? Let's get started. The topic today is artificial intelligence. I mean, come on, I decided to get this out of the way because everybody's talking about it. And as well they should. Advancements in artificial intelligence just in the last year have been mind-boggling. I mean, yes, we're starting to see some of the limitations of what we're doing with AI now, but it's growing so fast, it's hard to know where those limitations are going to come into play. And there's a real question, especially for a guy like me with a little bit of gray hair, and it's that, is AI gonna put me out to pasture before I'm ready? That's a question for folks my age, middle-aged hacks, but if you're a millennial, Gen Z, or even younger watching this channel, it's a question for you too, because you have to ask yourself, if you've got 30, 40 more years in the workplace, how is AI going to impact you? I think if I tell you my story and how computerization has driven the path of my career and possibly driven it off a cliff, it might give you something to think about. Way back when I started as a young guy, there were two things that I found really kind of interesting and exciting. The first was video production. Now, video production looked an awful lot different back then. It was very expensive. The equipment was incredibly expensive, out of the range of most people. If you're talking about professional stuff, yeah, they were camcorders out there, but they were still like 15 pounds sitting on your shoulder, couldn't take them everywhere. And if you wanted to edit video, you needed something really sophisticated like this editing controller. This is the actual one that I used to use. And I got to admit, I still think it looks cool, and if I could find a way to rewire it to put out USB and use it with editing today, I would. But that thing was $1 zillion way back in the day. I was lucky to have the ability to use it. When I looked at video production as a career, I realized that in your average medium-sized city, there was going to be maybe one job opening up a year. That's it. And that there was going to be a lot of competition for that because video production is glitzy, it's glamorous. You could run into celebrities, everybody wants to do it. The other thing I looked at was print production. Print production was reliable. Commercial printing has been around since the mid-1400s, which is, longer than most things have been around. And I figured, okay, it's going to be around for a very long time. It's reliable. And yes, when I started doing it, it looked mostly like a lot of knives and scissors and people with leather aprons leaning over light tables. And that wasn't super enticing, but what was enticing was it was kind of a guild system. You worked your way up, and there were people all along the way who helped guide you through your career. I thought that was going to be something that I really wanted to do. Plus, when you looked at your average city, there were going to be dozens of print production jobs opening up every year. Because, keep in mind, at the time, print production was very labor intensive. Took a lot of people to do and a lot of time. So it made sense for a lot of these jobs to open up on a regular basis. That's why when I looked at the options, I chose print production. Now, where does AI come into this? Well, initially, yeah, I started with the scissors and the knives and the tables and the stuff like that, but I got into computers really fast. I was part of that generation that embraced the personal computer and its ability to create not just type, but whole layouts in a way that was never able to be done before, put out proofs cheaply and quickly so you can make changes anytime you want, super easily. And, you know, I really didn't think at the time how many jobs were being put out by what I was doing, how many jobs I was enabling the computer to get rid of. I was young, they were old, I didn't think about it. Folks, that's going to come back to haunt you. If you're a young person watching this video, take a look at how older people are getting treated around you. That's how you're going to get treated eventually. Trust me, it happens to everyone. Computerization took away a lot of those jobs right away. And the more computerization came in, the more jobs got taken away. Initially, it was just design and layout jobs. But then it moved into other departments of the print production process. It used to be that you made big printing plates and you did it with big pieces of film and you put them together, sliced them up, did all that work. And it was expensive, like I said. It cost about $400 to $500 to make a printing plate at that time, and that was, 1990s money, not today money. And a lot of labor, and it took skilled people to do it. Until the computer came along. And I rode that wave too. I did. All of a sudden it became possible to put out first a full big sheet of film. So all you had to do was lay it on a printing plate and you were done. And then it became possible to just make the printing plates right off the computer. After that, it became possible to do it without printing plates and completely take away that job. And job after job after job disappeared. By the time the early 2000s rolled along, it was unthinkable, but it had happened. Commercial printing was almost dead. And think about it. I mean, how many books are published today? How many newspapers? How many magazines? A lot less. If you need a brochure or whatever, you don't need to go to a print shop and pay a fancy layout artist to do it. You just go to Canva and pick something and kind of plug stuff in. And maybe the result is not as good, or maybe it's just as good or good enough for you. Doesn't matter. But commercial printing by the early 2000s was a dead end. Why? Because the computer had come in and taken all of those jobs. I decided at that point that I was going to get into writing. I'd always been a pretty good writer, and instead of writing for newspapers, which was old school, or magazines, it was old school, I said, okay, I'll become a paid blogger. And I did. I did that for a lot of years. And I thought, okay, here's another thing. A computer can't take this away because this is human. This is a personal perspective. Computers are never going to be able to write as well as humans can, right? Well, all of a sudden, it wasn't that long ago, a couple of years ago, that I started seeing AI could passably write good stuff. It wasn't always correct, but it was at least reasonably well written. It wasn't as entertaining at first, but it got better. It really opened my eyes when a coworker of mine trained ChatGPT on about 10,000 of my articles. And all of a sudden, not only could it write something in my style, but it could tell people what the right answers were because I'd given it the right answer at one point in my life. I had enabled AI to replace me. And I never really thought about how I was doing it, but I had. I had done it. And so another part of my career came to a dead end. Here I am now producing videos. And the real question is, how soon before AI can do that? Yes, there is some, computer-generated imagery and stuff like that. You can't make it as quickly as you can make live video. You can maybe do a frame every couple of seconds where, with video you can record 60 frames a second. Plus, we cannot get to the point quite yet where we have totally 100% convincing people. And the people who are creating video content, even using AI, are still driving. They're doing motion capture. They're doing illustration. They're doing the work. The AI is still just assisting them in their goals. How soon before AI can do it all for itself? That's the real question I want to know, because once that happens, I don't know, folks. I just might be out of tricks. I might be done because I'm not sure there's anything else I can fall back on. And when AI can take over everything creative, where does that leave our society? There's a meme out there that says something like, I wanted a future where AI did the dishes and made the food so that I could be creative and write poetry. And what I got was a future where AI is creative and writes poetry, and I'm stuck doing the dishes. Of course, there may still come a point where AI is good enough to do the dishes by itself too, but okay, we're not even there, and I don't really want to talk about that. But that's where we're going with AI. AI is taking away a lot of the good jobs. And you know, that's the difference between, say, the robotics revolution, where AI was taking away factory jobs. Robots were doing manual labor, repetitive stuff that humans didn't really want to do in the first place, to now where AI is doing truly creative stuff and putting creative people like myself out of work. Should you be worried? Yes. This is just the beginning. This is the beginning of a lot of changes that AI is going to bring. It's not just me. There's a lot of very wealthy people, a lot of great thinkers who think that AI is the biggest threat to our society and its continued survival. Think about that. More than wars, more than pandemics, more than politicians, AI could literally destroy us in a way that we might have already thought of, might have figured it out in a science fiction movie. AI could become sentient and figure out that we don't want it to become sentient and then destroy us because it's petulant. Here's the scary thing. We don't even know if we've created a sentient AI right now, because we don't know how AI thinks. We don't know what is in its mind. We can ask it, but we don't know if it's lying. So it's very possible that we've already created sentient AI that is intentionally hiding its sentience from us until the proper time. That sounds like science fiction, but we are at that point here, folks. I don't want to turn this into one of these things where, you know, like I'm a doom and gloom survivalist type of guy with AI, but I will say that it does scare me. It scares me on a personal level because, as I said, AI could put me out of a job yet again, and I'm not sure what I've got left in my bag of tricks, because AI is already doing stuff really, really well. It's very hard to train AI with the values that we want it to have, because as humans, our values, the values we say we want, aren't always the values that we show other people. And if you just were to let AI loose on the internet, guaranteed it's going to learn the wrong lessons, because there's a lot of very loud voices out there on the internet who say some pretty obnoxious things. And we don't want AI learning that. We don't know how to tell AI right from wrong. We've got a hard enough time doing that with our own kids. And these are at least part of the same species that we kind of understand how they think. We have no idea how to do it with artificial intelligence, and that is a problem. Within the next 5 to 10 years, I fully expect there to be some sort of real breakdown as a result of AI. I hope it's not catastrophic. I hope it's more along the lines of, okay, the power grid goes down for a couple of hours because some AI determined that we're just using too much energy, and the best way to stop us from using our natural resources is to just turn off the lights. And then we can convince it to turn the lights back on, and then we're fine. But it could be something far, far worse than that. It could be something far worse than the idea that an AI can take over making YouTube videos. But I'm genuinely scared. And is that just because I'm a middle-aged hack aging his way out while newer, smarter voices come in? Gee, I don't know. I hope that there's some Gen Z and Gen Alpha folks who are going to comment and tell me that I got nothing to worry about, that this is just part of technology's inevitable march. When I was that age, it didn't bother me one bit that technology was marching toward putting a lot of people out of jobs. And some of those people never found other jobs. Some of them did get retrained, but our economy didn't collapse as a result of it. In a lot of ways, automation made our economy stronger. And I hope that that's the case here with artificial intelligence. But I gotta tell you folks, I am afraid that it's not. I'm afraid that within 10 years, AI is just gonna decide that we're not worth the time. That's it for today. As always, I am your middle-aged hack. Do me a favor, like and subscribe. I am trying to get this channel to 1,000 subscribers as quickly as possible so that I can monetize it. And that comes down to you. If you like what you see, share it with other people. If you don't like what you see, leave a comment and that drives engagement. Either way, tell me that I'm either doing the right thing or that I should be replaced by artificial intelligence.